Hey, what's up? I'm Kyla.
I'm Kiki.
And today we're talking about the top 10 things that you have to eat in Fiji.
Our favorite.
Yeah, and I just love that kind of tropical food. It's kind of, you know, like a little bit of Hawaii, but totally different actually. Actually nothing like Hawaii, but it's tropical, so it's like Hawaii. So anyways, you know, they have a lobo, which is like a luau.
Exactly,
it is actually really like a luau.
Definitely.
So that rolls into number one. The number one thing to eat in Fiji is the Lobo Feast. There's a lot of places that hold these traditional feasts and they take tourists there, so make sure to sign up for one if your hotel doesn't have them. It's fun, especially if you can go watch the entire process. They just build a big fire pit and roast meat on top of it. They don't bury the meat as they do in some different cultures.
Right.
And then here they like to wrap everything in taro leaves or foil, which is actually more convenient, but taro is the traditional way of doing things.
The family that we were staying with, they were actually Muslim, so they weren't able to eat pork or beef. So we didn't eat pork or beef. So we did a little bit of a rendition and did a little bit of fish and a little bit of mutton, hand mutton, which is kind of interesting, and chicken, and it was delicious.
Yeah, but definitely a whole roasted pork is a traditional way to do a Lobo Feast. Make sure to try that out. But if you don't eat pork, fish and lamb and chicken are there too.
Number two is Lolo Buns. Lolo Buns are these incredibly delicious buns that are handmade and they're cooked actually in coconut milk. We actually made the dough from scratch and rolled it, and then they actually sit inside of the pot and they evaporate all of the coconut milk. It kind of seeps into the buns. Sort of kind of tastes like a chow stew bao.
Cassava bao.
Ah! She's better than me.
Cassava bao.
Cassava bao. Really? Oh my god, I'm saying it wrong the whole time. It tastes like a Chinese pork bun, minus the pork, plus a boatload of Lolo, which is coconut milk. And it's to die for. You absolutely have to try it.
And it's really easy to make at home. What's really cool about Fijian cuisine is that it's not exact measurements. So if you mess up and you add a little too much Lolo, you add a little too much flour, it's not really a big deal. It's not like baking, which is like exact science.
It was really fun watching Mari baking these Lolo buns because she's just kind of eyeballing it, tasting it, and she's like, oh, this needs more of that. There's no actual recipe book that's gonna tell you how to make it.
Although we have a recipe for
We
you.
do.
Number three is Kokoda. Kokoda is basically just like a Fijian ceviche. So many of you guys have probably had a ceviche before, maybe not, but basically it is kind of similar to sushi in that the fish is essentially raw, but not raw because when you put the lime or citrus juice on it, it actually cooks the meat, basically like sashimi or whatever, but it is a little bit cooked. It's not completely raw. And it's quite delicious, so you gotta try it out, Kokoda. What makes Kokoda Fijian is that there's also coconut milk infused inside. And that's what's kind of different from, say, like a Latin ceviche, for example.
Number four is fresh uni. So we actually had the opportunity to go into the private marina and dive for fresh uni. And it was the craziest thing, one of the craziest things I've ever done.
It's kind of sad.
It was a little bit tragic. I wish we had video footage. There's this like mother uni with all its little babies and we were trying to lift it up and we're thinking, I don't think this is very nice if we're gonna take this mother with all its babies.
And we were just with our gloves and everyone's trying to like, we're like breaking up this little like, and the mother is like, like slowly trying to walk away.
We decided to actually leave the mother alone, but we did catch other uni, and they were delicious. It was so cool to be able to catch them straight from the ocean and just rinse them out and then serve them on a plate, and it was tasty.
Yeah, and besides the tastiness, like as a big fan of uni, it was just really cool seeing them like in their natural habitat. I, didn't know much about unis, just how they tasted, and I didn't know they lived, in dark corners behind rocks or if they were in shallow. Number five is sea grapes, and sea grapes are from the sea and deliciously salty. They literally look like grape. It's actually just, like a little grape bunch. It's actually a seaweed, so it's from the sea. Don't get surprised when it tastes nothing like grapes. It actually tastes, just like a pop of salty water in your mouth. And And it's really fresh and refreshing. If you like seaweed, it's healthy, super nourishing. It was actually added into our Kokoda, so you can kind of just add it as a garnish to add that salt kick into the dish.
I feel like it would go really well also in sushi, kind of like the little orange eggs, you know?
Ah, you can like break up a whole bunch of. Although we can't get sea grapes here. Don't steal that recipe.
I know. Fijian sushi? How cool is that?
That's kind of cool. It tastes very similar to, what are they called? The orange?
Maguro?
What? I have no idea.
Tamiko?
Wow.
There'll be a caption right here.
Yes.
That's the answer.
But it tastes like that, except less fishy.
Number 6 is ruru. Basically what it is taro leaves cooked down and boiled down, sort of like if you cooked spinach at home. And they use ruru in all different types of dishes. You can eat it as a side dish. It's very versatile, the taro leaves. And I think next to Lolo and Roro are the taro leaves. Those are the two main ingredients in all of Fijian cooking. So we don't actually have a great image or anything of ruru, but it's definitely something that you need to know and try and have, and you probably will because it's a staple in Fijian cooking.
You know, really great to pair with something heavy like Lolo buns and have something vegetable based, and because there's a lot of starches and a lot of meats in Fijian cuisine, so it's good to have that staple vegetable there too. Number 7 is Pollo Sami, and that was super delicious. It was one of my favorite dishes there. And what it basically is a taro leaf mixed with some corned mutton and some dalo leaves, and turns into a rowo consistency. But it's all wrapped up in the leaf and then either steamed or put in the oven or cooked in a Lobo Feast. But when you open it up after hours of cooking, it's just like all mixed together. The flavors of the corned mutton mixed with the leaves wrapped around. It's like super delicious. Out of all the delicious dishes for our Lobo Feast, it was actually one of my favorites. I could have eaten a couple more packets of those.
It's sort of similar, I don't know if you know the Chinese name for it, but that rice that's wrapped in the leaf.
Oh, the banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good.
That's good too.
It's like the Fijian coconut version. But it's
I don't know what it is in English.
How do you say it?
Donzu.
Number 8 is cassava cakes. So these are actually really interesting little cakes that are made from cassava, which is similar to taro. And basically what they do is they shave down fruit, they boil it, and they mix it with a lot of different spices like cinnamon, evaporated milk, and you just make this huge kind of like mixture and stick it in the oven. And what happens is it comes out with this amazing texture. It's sort of like gelatiny and like squishy, and it's just got this moisture that's to die for. You just cannot stop eating it. And the top kind of burns off a little, so you get a little caramelization on there, and it's just something that you absolutely have to try. I had like 3 or 4 of them, which I probably shouldn't have because I'm regretting it, but it's so tasty.
It's like a big boba cake. Boba?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, because it has that tapioca consistency. So I love it because it's kind of, you know, a little bit more set and not cake-like, but you know, it's hard on the exterior, but when you bite into it, it has that tapioca consistency. You have to try it. Number 9 is Kava. You cannot leave Fiji without trying Kava. Although we did leave Fiji without Kava. We were actually highly anticipating the night when we would get the Kava. And then it just never came and no one said anything about it. Even no one commented. Like they actually like talked about it a couple of times, like we're gonna bring you that Kava. So Kava, it's not alcohol, it's not marijuana, it's not drugs, so it's perfectly legal. We went to the airport, they were selling Kava in the little store. I don't drink, but Kava's not alcohol, so I was looking forward to getting a little tipsy because it does have like some hallucinogenic properties, like it has some head-changing properties, but you know, since it's not a drug or whatever, you know, we're both free to do it.
Totally.
And we can't tell you anything about it though.
We heard some really interesting stories. Like we heard that sometimes the locals, they'll actually give a tiny little bit to their kids to make them fall asleep. So it sort of sounds like the American whiskey, but no alcohol. So I mean, it's completely natural. It's a root, right? It's So they take the root and then they make some sort of brew out of it. They call it dirty water. Kind of has like a little brown texture, but yeah, people drink it. They make all of their business deals with Kava. They have a lot of celebrations, family gets
Sounds
together.
a lot like alcohol.
It does sound like their alcohol. But hey, I'm thinking if it's a
not.
root, you know, it's like eating a potato or a taro.
If I'm remembering this correctly, but something about like if you drink Kava for the first time, it doesn't really hit you, but you need to feel like your body needs to recognize it, and then like a couple other times you really start to feel the effects.
Yeah.
So your first time drinking it, you might not even feel too much.
Number 10 is curry. Everybody loves a curry, and everybody has their own rendition of curry. In India, we had Indian curry. In America, we have our own renditions of curries. Of course, the Japanese curry too. Essentially, well, you know what the curries are. They've got all different types of spices cooked down. It's beautiful, delicious. Fijians have their own curry as well. They call Indians that live in Fiji Indo-Fijians, and there's about a 30-some-odd% of Indo-Fijians living in Fiji, which is pretty interesting. So a lot of their food is influenced by Asian cooking as well as Indian cooking. So we got the opportunity to have Indo-Fijian curry, and it was delicious.
Very yummy. I hope you guys liked our top 10 foods to try in Fiji, and I hope that you will make sure to try each one of these dishes when you head out there, as I know you will be going soon based on our recommendations.
And hope you guys have a lot of fun eating.